This conference will
After
now
this,
be recorded.
yes, thank you, Babu. Thank you. Babu, please go on mute. Okay, right. So these are the things that we are going to discuss in today's agenda. If still time permits, today we are going to work on how to extract streaming or live data from the website to your Power BI. So if time permits, we are going to discuss this also. Otherwise, tomorrow we'll continue this. Okay, right. Let us go first. I have extracted some sample tables. Hope guys, my voice is audible, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Suppose I have extracted 7 tables to Power BI desktop. Okay. Now, if I go to view, I want to see the dependencies of the queries, whatever the queries. When I say queries, that means the tables. Okay, the tables. I want to understand the dependencies of this particular table. So where I can see that, it is just a simple option to see that. So go to view, you have a query dependencies option. So if you click on that, it will try to give you the dependencies of that object. See, the dependency will be something like this. See, you have total 7 tables. So this is a kind of dependencies. Okay, to that particular server under a database called AdventureWorks. So these are the different tables that you are able to see in Power Query Editor. If you want to see the dependency, you can simply go and say click on Views and Query Dependency part. So that's a simple option. Let us not spend much time on that. We'll wait for some time. I think the tables are getting loaded to Power BI Designer. See, we have to complete all the options which is available in the Power Query Editor and Power BI Designer, so that we can go further kind of concepts. Okay, so right, we have completed like what is the dependencies, how to see the query dependencies and all. Now there is something called in the Power Query Editor. In the Power Query Editor, there is something called data source settings. What do you mean by data source settings? And what if I click on data source settings? Okay, anything, if you want to know the description, go to that particular option, mouse over there. So it will try to give you the corresponding related information. Okay, so if I click on data source setting, what you're able to see, you're able to see only one server details. So basically, what is the purpose of using data source settings? That we need to understand. Okay, to understand that, so I need to give some kind of brief description about environments. Okay, in the real-time projects, we will be having 3 to 4 environments. Okay, environments in projects. What do you mean by environments? What are the environments are there? We have one development environment. We have two UAT. Okay, testing environment, UAT or testing environment. And 3, in some companies they will directly having a prod environment, but in some companies nowadays they are having an environment called pre-prod environment, and fourth, it is prod environment. So maybe some of the people you may aware of this environment, some of the people you may not aware of this, but for all, let me give some kind of brief information about the environments. So basically, what is the use of environment? Means in real-time projects, whatever the code that we develop, we are not at all directly going to develop and directly going to write the code in the production environments. Okay, so for that, every project will have minimum 3 to 4 environments called development environment, UAT environment, pre-prod environment, production environment. Okay, so first environment is going to be the development environment. What you're able to do, the what kind of data that you're able to see here. So suppose I have a project. In this project, suppose I have say 30 tables are there. Assume 30 tables are there. So can I say the same 30 tables data in development environment and the same 30 tables data in production environment is as similar as? Can anybody tell me? I have 30 tables in the projects. In the development environment, I have those 30 tables. The data which is present in the development environment and the data present in the production environment, are they going to have the same data or different data?
Maybe production environment will be the final database, I think. Or
Correct. See, production data is a kind of a live data. It is a actual data. Okay. Whenever we are trying to perform any kind of logics, okay, we are not at all directly going to take the live data. First, what we will do as part of our implementation activity, we are going to develop our code by making use of the development environment data. Okay, so whatever the data that you have in development environment in the tables, you cannot treat that as a final data. You are not supposed to treat that as a final data. That is the just for your kind of implementation purpose, logic implementation purpose. You are doing all this development related code in the development environment, but that doesn't mean that the data whatever is there in the development environment is going to be the final data. No, you cannot say that. Now, next, what is the UAT data? UAT data, basically in development, as a Power BI developer or any developer, see, these environments are common for all. No matter you are a Power BI developer or a BI developer or a .NET developer or Java developer or you name it anything, for any technology, the environments are same. The environments are same. Okay, no matter it is BI, front end, UI, whatever. Okay, environments are same. So development environment is purely for developers. For developers. What about UAT or text environment? This is for testers. Say people are there in the team. Within the team, you will be having a testing people to test the application and to test the logic that whatever you have implemented. Suppose you have implemented a logic saying that C equal to A plus B. A plus B. So what tester will do? They will try to take A as 10, A as 10, then B as 20. Then they will try to see whether you're getting the result of 30 or not. If not, then they will come back to you developers again and they will try to saying that whatever the logic that you have mentioned is not correct. So kindly review your code again and send it back for the revision. So that's how they will say. So again, developer will correct the logic and they will try to send the latest code. And again, after sending the latest code, testers will again apply the same kind of logic by passing some values to that particular logic. And if it is meeting successfully, so then the same code is going to be moved from UAT to next environment. Okay, until unless if you don't see the environments, okay, So basically, once we develop any code, it has to be moved from one environment to another environment. Development to UAT, UAT to pre-prod, pre-prod to prod. Every stage you will be having a proper validations. Okay, so once your validation is done and successful in the UAT environment with the UAT data, in the UAT environment, you will not the same data whatever the data is present in dev environment. You may have different data because UAT environment testers are preparing, testers are doing some kind of manipulations, right? So testers will, it will add some data in that. So UAT environment will have tester related data. But once everything is correct in terms of logic, so then the same code is moved to the next environment called pre-prod. What is exactly pre-prod? Earlierly we are not able to, find this environment directly. We'll be able to see the production environment, but for security purpose and for kind of more security and that kind of purpose, they have introduced pre-prod environment. What does this pre-prod environment will contain? Pre-prod environment will have the exact data which is available in the production environment, but what happens in the projects is every 15 days or every 15 days or every certain period of time, your production data will gets updated actually. Okay, what they will do, suppose today is 20. Okay, so today is 20th. So for a client, every 20th the data has to be refreshed. What do you mean by refreshed? That means when I refreshed, the latest data also is going to be included into the existing data. So what when when production is refreshing on 20th, okay, whatever the data you have in production environment till today, till 20th, all the data is going to be moved to your pre-prod environment. Why we are moving this to pre-prod environment? Because once your logics are completed in your normal testing environment, you're going to apply the same logics on the actual data. So there the same logic is working as expected or not, to check like one more kind of validation. We are making the complete dump of production data to pre-prod data. But what is the difference between pre-prod and prod? Suppose every 20th production will get switched, and whatever the data is there, that is going to be stored on the pre-prod. Suppose assume after 3 days, say 23rd, what is the state of pre-prod data and what is the state of prod data? Suppose pre-prod data is having 100 records. Assume on 20th 23rd production data will be having 200 records. How it is possible? Because yes, during these 3 days 100 transactions has happened, so 100 new entries has been included into the production, which has not included into the pre-prod. Why it has not been included? Because we have a cutoff date for refreshing. Production refreshing is every month 20th, the cutoff date is there. So next 20th, the all the data is going to be loaded again to pre-prod. Okay, pre-prod will have the actual data which is present on the production, but it depends on refresh activity uh, it is going to be have. So why we are actually moving this to pre-prod? To make one more level of check, whatever the logic that you have prepared, is it working in the actual data or not? So once it is working in the actual data, directly they will try to move this to production environment. So this is the complete knowledge on the environment. This is not part of Power BI, but everyone should aware of this. See, you people are putting some kind of a fake experience and you people are going. You should aware of all these things. If you don't aware, then again it is going to be a problem for you. So that's why I've spent some time on discussing on this. So till this point, do you have any questions, guys? I need everyone's inputs.
The pre-production stage in the sense nothing but backup for main product.
Exactly. Backup for every production, every project will have some cutoff dates. Some people will have every week refresh activity. Some clients will have every 15 days. every 15 days they will have a cutoff period. Some clients will have every month a specific day. Okay, whatever the day that you have mentioned, the complete data is going to be loaded into your pre-prod as a backup data. But again, the next any changes has been implemented in the production, that is not straight away go immediately. It has to wait for the next refresh activity to run. Clear, guys? Naveen, Surya, Rajshekhar, Vinod, Shweta.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
what is a VDB database?
Sorry, what is a? No, no. Shweta, please come back to your
VDB
question.
database. VDB database. It's a virtual.
Uh,
It's like pre-prod
no, no.
database. Or,
Oh, you're talking about like, pre-prod is a virtual database you're talking about?
yeah.
No, you cannot call that as a virtual, because when you say virtual, it will, I mean, in virtual, you will be getting the always latest data, but in pre-prod, you will not have always latest data. It is a dump. It is a backup
Okay.
of your production data up to the cutoff date. But when you say virtual, every time in the virtual, you will be having the latest data. So you cannot say virtual. It is a dump of a production data based on the
Production.
cutoff date.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right. That's why I've explained all these things, is because this is very, very important. Since you people are, putting some experience and all and fake experience, so then it is important for you to understand this. Okay. You cannot directly go and ask for your manager saying, I want production details. Then he will say, and he will ask you how many years of experience you have, and he will give a pink slip to you, and he will ask you to leave. Okay. Should not ask like that. Okay. Right. Then why I'm explaining all these things, because there is something called as a data source settings. What do I mean by data source settings? In the data source settings right now, you have only one retrieve. Why? Because this is my server details. This is my server details for development. Since I'm in the training environment, I'll not be able to find multiple entries, but in the projects you'll be having multiple entries. Okay, so this is for development, this is for testing, this is for pre-prod, and this is for prod. So based on the selection of your environment, the data is going to be reflected onto the reports. Whatever the environment that you're going to select, so based on that, the data is going to be reflected onto the reports. So that is the use of data source setting. Here is a place wherein you're going to change the environment. Guys, are you clear?
This will be like that's a sample template given by Microsoft.
Yes. I mean, right
So
now we
from
are in the
here,
training environment, so
yeah.
obviously we'll not
So,
be having a production, pre-prod,
okay.
all every environment, right? So that's why we're able to see only one server link, something like that. You will be having
Okay.
in the actual environments three links or four links. So one is for development, one is for production, one is for pre-prod, something like that. So based on your selection, see if your requirement is to select production data to be displayed on your reports, obviously you'll come to your data source settings and you'll try to select the server name as your production server.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, even if you see, I mean, in the real time, even if you see, it will be very similar, but at least suppose my desktop some 780 uh, desktop iPhone 780 is my assume like development server, so it is having some D. Okay, for production same server will be having, but if I say it is having P, it means production. Suppose if it is having say U, mean it's a UAT, so something like it is not always at the end. Okay, some people may have that in between of this, they have something like this, you need to identify. So for development you will be having this. Okay, that is the difference uh, between production and development in UAT. Okay, and for sample purpose I'm explaining you, even in the look and feel wise, how can you differentiate D for development, P for production, U for UAT. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so that's fine. So we are done with our see, ultimately my goal is I have to complete all the options which is available in the Power Query editor. Okay, because you should not feel like, you know, oh, this item is not discussed. I don't know what happens if I click on this. I don't want that to be happen in your situation. Okay, so that is the use of this. So as part of data source settings, we have discussed. Okay, we have discussed reduced rows. We have discussed managed columns. Okay, we'll go step by step. Okay, and we have discussed about data types. We have discussed about use first row as headers. Now let us discuss about replace values. Everyone will knows. See, replace existing values in the currently selected column with the specified new value. Suppose if I go to dim customer table, okay, I have title which is having null value. So I want to replace with some values. So click on replace. So value to find. So what is there? So null is there. You want to replace with say ABC, any value. Okay, it is not replacing because
Capital letters.
yeah, see, you have successfully replaced the value to array. So it is depends on your requirement. It is something like even in our Word document or in Excel document, if you want to replace something, so what we have to do, generally we'll say Control F or Control H, and we'll try to find out the value and replace the value. It is almost similar to that. Let us not spend much time on this because it's a simple option. Now, what is the next thing? One important thing is when I click on any object and I'm able to see properties. If I click on, okay, let me select dim product. When I click on properties, or when I right click of the object and say go for properties, I'm able to see two options. This is an interview question. I'm able to see two options. What is that? Enable load to report, include in report refresh. So this is very, very important. Okay. See, when I click on the properties of this, when I click on the properties, suppose if I uncheck the first option, second also will be gets disabled. See, disabling load will remove the table from the report, and any visuals that use its columns will be broken. So when you uncheck this option, enable to load to report, that means the dim product selected table is going to be deleted from the report. And in the designer, suppose based on the dim product tables column you have designed any report, the relation will be for that particular column, the relations will be broken. And if you say click on OK, try to observe the difference. When I click on the OK button, and if you simply say apply, if you say refresh all, so that means the option will gets disabled. Okay, so if you again go to properties and now enable this. Okay, what about the second option, include in report refresh? Suppose if I uncheck these things, what happens? If I uncheck this and if I close, okay, and now I'm doing refresh all, try to see Did dim product is involving the refresh activity or not? Please check. Okay, so what does it means is, actually you will not be able to see that actually. So including report refresh. So that means I have 7 tables. Okay, so when I say refresh all the 7 tables are going to be refreshed in terms of data, right? In terms of data. But when I uncheck this checkbox to a particular table, when I next time go for a refresh preview all, that particular table will not participate in the refresh activity. So that is the meaning of that. I have given something like this. So I have mm, where is it? I have actually prepared for you for that actually. I'm trying to show you. Yeah. See, enable to load and include in refresh. See, if I disable this option on the selected query, that will not participate when I refresh my Power BI report. Okay, enable to load option to report. If I disable this option, this will not load data, query data and metadata into report designer. It will disappear from the report. So when I say enable to load to report means, what happens when generally we see, this is my Power Query editor. Suppose if I am going for importing a sample table, okay, importing a sample table, what happens? So I'm going to select the table, say any table, and say when you click on OK, what happens? It will try to connect to your data source as a SQL server, and it will try to get the metadata and data to your Power Query editor, right? So that's how generally it will happen. But when I disable this, okay, when I disable this first option, the first option, then the data you will not be able to see when I disable this option, the data metadata into the data and metadata will not load into the report designer. It will disappear from the report designer. So that is the difference between that. Hope you guys are clear, right? Guys, any questions? Surya?
Yes.
Not so clear, sir. I mean,
Not so clear, sir. Yes.
not able to see once again now.
Okay, let me explain in another way. Okay, suppose if I go to properties, okay, so you have enable to load report. See, when I say enable load report, why actually this is important is, today I have loaded dim product table to my Power Query editor, right? So what is the state of this? Okay, today I have imported these tables to Power Query editor. So that means when I import the tables metadata and the data is going to be imported onto that particular report that particular time, right? So that means, say today 20th 11 20 I have imported the tables for dim product. So data and metadata is going to be imported into the Power BI desktop, Power Query editor. What is the situation after 3 days? I have saved this report and close this, but after 3 days if I open the same report, what is the state of the dim product data? It is having the same data 3 days before whatever you have imported. That data you will be able to see. But do you find the latest data? It
No,
will
sir.
not find the latest data. So to find the latest data, what we are actually doing, we are simply clicking on the refresh preview activities. Correct guys. So when I say refresh, that means the control again will go to data source as a SQL server, and it will try to again get the data which will get the latest data which is available on the dim product table, and it will try to load it into the dim product table which is available in the Power Query editor. That's how it is happening. So that is the situation. See, if I enable this, and if I enable this, then only the activity will allow you to do that. You got it? See, if I enable, if the dim product table is having this enable option, then only when you say refresh preview all, that the dim product table will go and get the latest data which is available in the uh, uh, SQL server that on the current time basis, and we will try to load when you enable this. Okay, if it is disabled, definitely the activity will not be performed. That's what I mean to say.
So is it something like we have to do it manually or get
See, by
refreshed?
default it will be checked. By default, the option, see, if you see this, suppose let me take another table. If you say right click and this, by default both options has been checked. But certain situation wherein you feel, okay, I don't want customer test table because I'm not at all using this. So when I'm doing every time refreshing, again, if this table is having 1 lakh records, for all 1 lakh records, again this table will also perform the refresh activity. Unnecessarily, it is a kind of wasting of time. So at that time, what I feel, simply I will right click, I'll go to the property, I will try to uncheck this. That's it. So next time I'm going for refresh activity, this object alone will not participate in the refresh activity.
Okay,
But
clear,
by
sir. Clear.
default, you will be having that. So that is the option here. Okay. Hope clear. Shweta, do you have any questions? Rupa, Shweta, Naveen,
No, it's
guys.
clear.
Okay.
No, sir.
Now, okay. Now moving back to the next questions. Okay, we have completed these options also. Data source setting depending on properties completed. Then data source, like now split functionalities. Now split functions. Right. You're able to see some options here. These are the new options in the latest versions. I'm able to see like Azure machine learning. These are not actually, we are not going to use in Power BI, because this is something your Power BI is giving a facility to integrate your machine learning data also. Okay, this is a new feature in the tools. Okay, now split functionalities. So I think you heard, I have explained about sorting. Okay, suppose I have selected customer key, I want to, it's in a descending order, so I'm going to click on this. I want it in a ascending order, I'm going to click on the above one. Just changing the order from ascending to descending, descending to ascending. Okay, right. Parameters we will discuss maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. And till this point we have almost cleared. See, in the close and apply, what do you mean by close? And if you say close, simply it will try to close without apply. If you apply, that means whatever the changes that you have applied, it will try to save the changes, and the control will remains on the same Power Query editor page. What if I say close and apply, the changes will be saved, and immediately Power Query editor will be closed. Okay, again, if you want to see, the changes are reflecting here. Right. See, again, if you want to go to the transform data, so simply click on transform data, you will be able to see the table. So clear guys till this point?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
now split functionality. Split means splitting the character splitting based on some character. What kind of split functionalities we have? We will see. So we have split by delimiter, split by number of characters, split by positions, split by lowercase to uppercase, split by uppercase to lowercase, split by digit to non-digit, split by non-digit to digit. Okay, what do you mean by delimiter? Suppose delimiter means a specific character. Suppose in customer table, I want to go directly to email ID column. So what is the option? Option one, you manually have to search for that column and you have to do. I don't want to do like that. So simply I will say choose and say go to the column. I will say simply just I will say email. Try to select this. The email ID email address column highlighted. Now I want to perform split operation. Sorry, not group by operation, split operation. Split by delimiter. Okay, if I click on that, I want to split this option. So this is a, what is your split option that you want to give? You want to give comma, colon, or comma, or equal to sign, or special anything. So if you say at the rate, so that means in the email address column, wherever you see at the rate, it will try to split based on that. Okay, so if you say click on OK, see it got splitted. Okay, let us go back. Let us go back. Let me go back. I want to create a duplicate of this table. I don't want to disturb the existing table. Let me create a duplicate. Okay, in this, go to email ID column. Sorry, email address column. For clarity purpose, what I will do, I will just keep this column alone. Rest of the columns I will remove. So I have to say remove other column, just for clarity purpose, nothing else. Now I want to perform. Now I have in this table only one column. I want to perform this. Say custom at the rate. So when I say OK, see at the rate is a delimiter. Based on the at the rate, the record is going to be splitted. Even to get more clarity, what you can do is you can duplicate this column. Because why are you doing duplicate column? Because the operation is directly implementing the change in the column itself. For comparison purpose, you'll not I'm giving this as a duplicate column, and if I say split by delimiter and at the rate symbol and click OK. So try to see here now, wherever you see at the rate, before at the rate John 24, after at the rate, so that means the value has been splitted based on a delimiter. Right, are you clear?
Yes.
Any questions?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Okay, now
Yes.
suppose I'll come back again. I'll come back. Okay, this is a column. Then I want to perform delimiter. This time I have three options. See, each occurrence at the delimiter. Leftmost delimiter, rightmost delimiter. What happens if I click on leftmost delimiter and see? So that means leftmost delimiter also it is performing almost similar. Now what happens rightmost delimiter? If I say split by delimiter and say rightmost delimiter and say it is also doing the same operation, splitting based on the comma. But is it always that I need to split on based on the based on at the rate symbol, or anything else I can do? Even if you have options like this, but most of the things, suppose in this thing I don't have any commas, I don't have any semicolons or colons or semicolon spaces. So what I'll do, I will say split. So can I say hyphen? I will say hyphen because I'm able to see adventure works hyphen adventure hyphen works.com, right? So if I say hyphen and if I say okay, now try to see John 24 @adventure, because of the hyphen the record got splitted into two things. Correct guys? Any questions?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
correct, sir. No, clear, sir.
Suppose even if I say splitting, suppose instead of this, say I want to split this based on the colon, comma, semicolon, space tab. So say I'll say dot, because I have .com, right? If I say dot and say okay, see John 24 @adventure -works dot got splitted. So it is all depends on your requirement, how you want to split the records. Okay, how you want to split the records based on a delimiter. So you can have any delimiter. By default delimiters are colons or comma, equal to sign, semicolon, space, tab. Other than these delimiters, if you want to give anything, you can select the option as custom, and you can give any custom value as a delimiter. So that's about based on the delimiters. Hope you're clear, right? Any questions?
So when this kind of scenario will come in live
Yeah,
project? I mean,
I will tell you an example tomorrow on group by operation. Okay, so there will be a scenario. I have a dim customer table. In this dim customer table, all the customer details are going to be maintained. Say mine is, say when I is maintaining this, Santosh @gmail.com. Say Surya @yahoomail.com. Say say Naveen some say hotmail.com. I want to understand which domain people are more. So when I say domain, @Gmail is a domain. Gmail, Yahoo Mail, Hotmail is a domain. I want to understand and analysis on which domain is performing better and which domain is performing poor. That means, how can I say that whichever the domains most of the people are using, so that is the best performing domain. So when I say @Gmail, @Gmail for all the customers, so that means Gmail is performing better. So in that particular scenarios, anyway, we are going to discuss in the tomorrow session. Okay.
okay, sir.
Okay, guys. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We'll
Okay, sir.
discuss tomorrow. Any questions till this point?
No, sir.
Okay, guys. So I need to catch up on the other meetings and back-to-back meetings. So we'll meet tomorrow to discuss on the further topics on split, then group by, then we'll go for what you can say live streaming data options. Okay, guys.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then bye bye for tomorrow. We'll meet tomorrow.
That's it.